Hey guys, so welcome back to our tutorials. So in today's tutorial, we're going to talk about how can we create search icons, search social media icons using HTML and CSS. So to begin with, I hope you can see my HTML. So in my HTML, I only have one div, and this div has a class of socials. So this one is the div that is wrapping all these three social media platforms icons. And then you can see these icons have been added as these icons has been added like images, and then I have the pictures of the images here. So this one is for Facebook, this one is for Instagram, this one is for X, and then these are index.html. So this is what we are going to focus on, and then we are just going to style it and see how we can go ahead and style. So to make sure that we can remove this CSS file, because this is the CSS file for the finished code. And then if we save that, you can see the icons are not visible. So let me create yet another CSS file. I'll call it style2.css. Then the first thing is to link that style to the HTML. So just use link CSS and then style2. All right. And then in style2, what we need to do is that we have some prerequisites for working with CSS. So I'm going to select everything and add a box sizing of border box. And then I'm going to select the body and then add a margin of something like 2rem. So these are just prerequisites, and then a padding of 0. And then I can add a background color so that you can see it's working. And then if I add a background color, you can see the icons are stacked on top of each other. But we don't necessarily need this background color. So the next thing we need to do is that we need to select this. We can give it a background color of black for us to see right now. So you can see those icons. So the next thing you need to do is that you can see we have this div with the class of socials. We need to place these children of this div side by side. So we do that using the flex. So what we are going to do is that we are going to select the socials div, and this one corresponds to the socials div here. And then we can say display of flex, and then we can give them a gap. So let me first save the flex. So you can see when you display them flex, they go side by side. Something else you might notice is that these icons are very huge. So what I'm going to do is that you can see each icon, each image has a class of icon, and then each icon also has a unique identifier for itself. So you're going to select the icon because it will affect all three, and then we can change its height as we wish. So I'm going to say dot icon and then change the width to something like 50 pixels and the height something like 50 pixels as well. And then you can see everything now looks nice. So the next thing we need to do is we need to start styling these icons. So I can select each individual icon. So this one is the Facebook.ig and the X. So we're going to select each of them and give them the respective colors. So I'm going to start with the Facebook one. So I'm just going to, I have few methods to work around this. I could basically do dot Facebook. Select the Facebook item with that class, or I could also change them to be more specific, and then I can say icon.icon.facebook. So this one means that the item you need to select using this needs to have a class of icon, and also it needs to have a class of FB. So it needs to have a class of icon and a class of FB. But we can keep it simple by just using the dot Facebook, and then Facebook has a background color. So we write a background color, and the background color of Facebook, let me grab it from my other screen, and that's the background color for Facebook. You can see it's there. Then we do the same for the others. So we have the IG. Then the background color of IG we are going to use is FB39. 5.8. That's the Instagram's background we are going to use. And then finally for the X, we're going to use a background color of black. So you can do the dot X and then background color of black. So something else you might notice is that I'm just selecting these classes. So we started with the Facebook, IG, X, and then we start styling them. The next thing is that I'm going to remove the background color because now these icons can be seen. And the next thing is that you can see they are so close to each other. So we can go to the socials div and give them a gap of something like 5 pixels. All right, that looks a bit nice. The next thing you need to add is a padding around these icons. So the finished version had the padding as a circle. So to add a circle like border radius, it's called border radius, not the padding. So we can do border radius of 50%. Okay, and then you can see now the icon itself is so close to the edges, so we need to put some padding around the icon itself. So you can say something like padding 10 pixels. And then it has started to take shape. And then the next thing you need to work on is we need to add the hover state. So to add the hover state, we are going to add on the icon because the icon is present in all the 3 icons. So just go dot icon and then I can select the hover state. So the icon, the hover state, and then here I basically change the opacity something like 0.8, and the cursor should be pointing. And after that, that's it. That's our result. Let me just make it something like 0.6. You can see now the cursor changes and everything is working. So that's it, guys. That's how you can create these social icons. So make sure to follow and share with your friends and like